Microphone check 1 2. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world? Hope you are blessed and doing very well. I'd like to welcome you back to another Team Zuby live stream. I see a couple people are in the chat right now. Just let me know that you can see me okay. Let me know that you can hear me okay. And I am going to get on with the show. Just drop me a message. If you have any questions for me, feel free to drop them in right now. I'm going to get to your questions throughout the live stream. As always, if it's your first time joining, then welcome. I always start with a little Q&A, and then I'm going to talk about a few different topics, as you probably saw in the title. On today's episode, I want to be talking about the situation that's going on over at Spotify with the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. There are some people trying to censor or cancel him, so I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about how I would approach this if I were a senior manager or certainly CEO at Spotify. I'll let you know how I would handle something like this, and maybe other companies can take note. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk a little bit about the ongoing 2020 is such a crazy year. I posted on my social media earlier this morning that it feels like we're living through the longest episode of Black Mirror ever. Things are just weird. Things are sort of dystopian. People are just behaving very strangely. So much strange behavior going on right now. So I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about these indefinite, infinite lockdowns. I want to talk about some of these measures that are not making sense. Once again, because I think it's important to keep on repeating this stuff. I know it's sort of taboo to a lot of people. People want you to live in fear. People want you to be afraid. People want everybody to be freaking out. Everybody running around fearing for their lives. That's what a lot of people want right now. There's a lot of people out there who are trying to control others right now, and they're using this whole virus situation, largely as an excuse to do so. If I'm being frank, that's how I'm seeing it. So I want to talk about that. But as I've said, let me know what questions you have. Any questions that you've got there. If you want to drop a super chat, it is always appreciated. I will always prioritize any questions or comments which have a super chat in them, but there's no need to do so. If you do, you will be supporting the channel. You'll be helping me with my music, my podcast, growing my YouTube channel, all that good stuff. So super chats are always appreciated. And I see one has just come through from Laura. First super chat of the day. Laura Wise sends $4.99. No comment there, no question, but thank you very much, Laura. I appreciate the super chat. That is very, very kind of you. So let me see what we've got right now in the chat. I'm going to do a few shout outs to begin with. I want to give a shout out to Signal 11th, Thriving Rockstar, John Thomas, Vanessa, John, Leah, Vanessa, Jessica, Lisa, Laura, Axum, Aralyn, Patty, John Taylor, Kamui Shorts Gamer, Haxering. Yes. We've got people tuned in. That's all good. Someone said, Laura said that, did I miss that? I tend to stay quiet. Oh, that's all good. Mark says that Zuby should do ASMR. I have got the voice for it. Maybe I'll do some ASMR in the future. Those videos get massive views, man. I should just make ASMR videos and go live on an island somewhere. It's a lot easier than making music. But you guys know I'm going to be working on the new album over the next several weeks, next several months, and I can't wait to get some brand new music out to all of you. So look at this. We just got another super chat here. $5 from Sarcastic Gamer. He wrote, I'm obsessed with cardio. Is there hope for me? There's definitely hope for you, man. Your heart is going to be in great condition. Your lungs are going to be in great condition. What I do, of course, recommend, though, if you're doing a lot of cardio, is make sure you're also lifting some weights. Make sure you're doing some resistance training as well, so that you're building up your lean body mass, you're building up your muscle mass, strengthening your bones, and you're not just hammering yourself away with the cardio and getting too scrawny and too skinny and too weak, because you want to be buff. You want to have that lean body mass, that LBM. It's very important. You want LBM, yeah? Okay. I'm going to find a couple of questions. Thank you for the super chats, by the way, guys. I'm going to find a couple of questions. Oh, look at this. We got another super chat. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Vanessa sends $9.99. Excited to hear your ideas on the censorship. I agree on the ASMR video. Get his book and you can listen to him read to you. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Yeah, go get Strong Advice, the audiobook version. And if you like these dulcet tones, then you can have Zuby read to you for for a little bit of time, tell you how you can get that lean body mass, how you can get those gains, whether you're a man, woman, child, teenager. You can get all those muscle gains, build that muscle mass, burn that body fat, all that good stuff. So Zuby ASMR channel coming real soon. Coming real soon, but let's get the album done first. Thank you very much, Vanessa. I appreciate the super chat. Very, very kind of you. Much love. Okay. Let's just see if there's any questions I need to get to right now immediately. Oh, wow, look at this. We're starting off like this. What do you think is next, aliens or the singularity? Man, I think the aliens are already here, man. I think the aliens are already amongst us. I don't even know, man. I don't know. Which one is next, though? I'm gonna go with the singularity. Actually, I don't know. I'm gonna go with aliens. Do you think it's likely Eminem could actually have replaced Bodie and replaced? I don't know what this is about. I have no idea what that was about. I have no idea what that email was about, what that message was about. Okay. I don't even know. Okay, guys, so you can ask questions throughout the chat. You can leave comments. Like I say, if you want to drop a super chat, I will always prioritize that. But yeah, I want to talk about this whole Joe Rogan and Spotify situation. So for those of you who may not know, the Joe Rogan Experience, of course, is the biggest and most popular podcast in the world. Either at the beginning of this year, was it beginning of this year or end of last year? It was announced that Joe Rogan was signing an exclusive deal with Spotify to move the Joe Rogan Experience over to Spotify. I believe the total deal was worth over $100 million, which is a crazy amount of money, man. What's that? 9 figures? Is that not? No, that's 10. Is that 10 figures? That's 10. No. 9 figures. $100 million, man. And I want to give a big shout out to Joe for that. I did shout him out at the time. You guys may know I have been on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. You can find that right here on YouTube if you haven't watched it. It's episode number 1346. Hoping to be back on it again in the future. I was hoping to get on it this year, but with the whole Rona situation and the lockdowns and the travel bans, haven't been able to get out to USA as planned. But I'm certainly hoping I can guest on the podcast again. Joe is a great guy. He's been building up his podcast for over a decade. He's recorded, I don't know, man, like 1,600 episodes thus far, something like that. He's put in crazy work. I think he deserves that 100 million. And I like to see people win. Joe Rogan making 100 mil, that means that who knows, maybe one day in the future, Zuby can get $100 million paycheck from my music or the Real Talk with Zuby podcast. It's certainly an inspiration. I love seeing people succeeding. I love seeing good things happening to people who work hard, people who deserve it. I like to see people win. I don't have a hateful bone in my body. I don't get jealous. I don't get envious. I like to see people win. Him making $100 million off of a podcast shows everybody else that it is possible, right? He's not taking $100 million from me. He's not taking $100 million from you, from anyone else, but it shows that it is possible. Every time someone succeeds in these ways, it shows that it is possible. So that should motivate and inspire you. That's the way you stay constantly motivated. So given this situation, so his podcast moved a couple of weeks ago. It's still actually on YouTube, which is a bit confusing because I thought it was a Spotify exclusive. But what's happened is, look, Joe has had some guests that some people deem controversial on in the past before, right? Maybe specifically guys like Gavin McInnes, Alex Jones, Milo Yiannopoulos. Who else? I don't even know. But he's had a big range of guests on. He's had people from all sides of the political spectrum, all different viewpoints, all different areas. And that's what part of what makes his show so awesome, right? You get to whether you agree with people, or you disagree with people, you like people, you don't like people, you get all sides of it on the Joe Rogan Experience. One day he'll be talking to a comedian, next day he's talking to an astrophysicist, then he's talking to someone like myself, then he's talking to a YouTuber. It's just such a dope podcast. And look, you don't have to. Firstly, all of this stuff is optional, right? So before we even get into it, right? This is the thing when people want to complain about podcasts or complain about music or movies, etc., right? In general, right? Sometimes stuff is worthy of outrage, but in general, if you just don't agree with what someone is saying or whatever, no one is forcing you to watch it. No one is forcing you to listen to it, etc. If there's some exploitation going on or there's something like illegal or libelous or slanderous, so that's different, right? That's different. But if it's just people discussing ideas, then that's just people discussing ideas. I just saw a super chat has come through, so I'm going to jump to that. Andre Curtis sends $10. Thank you so much. He writes, much love, bro. How do you still identify? LOL. Jamaican in the building, living on the animal farm of the U.S. Resist. Okay. How am I identifying? Right now it's a Monday, so right now I'm identifying as I'm going to identify as a black male for the purposes of this stream. It might change midway through, but right now I am a black male with a beard for the time being. Okay. Cool. So all right. So what's going on with the podcast? So a number of Spotify employees, activist employees, they call themselves, have decided that they don't like Joe Rogan. They don't like his episodes. They think he's problematic. They think some of his guests are offensive. They don't agree with him. They think he's, the usuals, right? Racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, probably fascist or fascist adjacent, like all the usual buzzwords, right? There's the typical 5 or 6 labels that they throw at everybody, which is also very funny because you also have to remember Joe Rogan is, he's fairly centrist, but he's probably leans a little bit more left than he even does right. But he's someone who is very open-minded and he's willing to talk to people on all sides of the political spectrum. So yeah, there are these social justice warrior type employees at Spotify who are threatening to go on strike. They're threatening the company, saying they want control. They want editorial control of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. If they don't get their way, they're throwing up a little hissy fit. They want to walk out. They want to go on strike. If the company doesn't bow to their SJW demands. Look, these people are toddlers. These people are toddlers. Like these activist type progressive weirdos, just going to call them what they are. They're not even progressive, right? They're not progressive. They're not the good guys. They're not people who are so concerned about other people's safety and general decency and morality and ethical values and stuff that this isn't why they want to do it, right? They want to do this because they like their echo chamber and they are offended by any ideas and any people who do not 100% align with their own values or ideas or voting patterns or beliefs, etc. These are the people who like to talk about diversity, but as soon as they come along any type of ideological diversity, any kind of political diversity, any kind of belief diversity in general, they're always the ones who are going to want to censor people, right? They're the ones who want to censor people, shut people down. These are weak individuals. These are very, very weak individuals, both mentally and often physically. Tell me if you have ever seen a buff social justice warrior, right? Have you ever seen any of these sort of like wokey weirdos who have any muscle mass on them? No. They're frail. They're emotionally frail. They're physically frail people. They're people who cannot handle ideas, who cannot deal with debate, who cannot even handle the idea of 2 people in a room having a discussion about some things and maybe making the occasional off-color joke or saying something that they don't agree with. These are lame individuals, right? And they should be, look, people who are going to act like children should be treated like children. So if I were the CEO of Spotify, I think that's Daniel Ek, right? If I were the CEO, if I was the manager, do you know how I would handle this situation? If Zuby were in charge at Spotify, do you know how I would handle this situation? Firstly, I wouldn't. Okay, let me not say I wouldn't hire social justice warriors because that in itself could be a little bit discriminatory. But they would have to check that stuff at the door. Okay, right? If we make an agreement that we're going to sign this podcaster for $100 million and we're going to make this investment, then you're not going to come along and rock the boat because you don't like a couple of his guests, right? That's nonsense. So the way I would handle this is I would either tell them, look, we've made this decision. This is it. Bottom line. If you don't like it, you can kick rocks. There's millions of people out there who are looking for jobs right now and you are replaceable. I would give them that option. Like, if you don't like it, you can leave. If you don't like it, you can go. Or if they continue to cause a problem, I fire them. Get rid of them. Simple as that. I would absolutely not kowtow to their demands. Absolutely not. If they want to go on strike, if they want to whine and kick and scream and act like children over a decision and an investment that's been made by the company, that also has no effect on them whatsoever. No effect on them. If they don't like Joe Rogan, if they don't like his podcast, No one is forcing them to listen to it, just like no one was forcing them over the past 11 years of its existence to listen to it. If they want to listen to some episodes but not others, that's on them, right? Think of all the music, right? If they think about what Spotify is as well, right? Spotify is a music streaming platform for the most part. Can you imagine if any song, any musician, any album who some Spotify employee had an issue with, or they didn't like the lyrics of, or they didn't like the music, or they didn't like the message? Can you imagine how, right? Like, people want to talk a slippery slope. Jeez, man. Now, if you're going to start censoring content on Spotify, Joe Rogan is not the place to start. Joe Rogan is not the place to start, right? We need to go through all the hip hop music. We need to go through all the heavy metal music. We need to go through all the pop music. We need to go through everything. Like some Puritans, we need to go through all of this stuff with a fine tooth comb. And we need, look, firstly, let's just start with anything with swearing, right? I might find swearing offensive. Maybe I find profanity offensive, right? So, okay, any music with explicit lyrics, get rid of it. Any cussing, get rid of it. Someone else, oh, this person is a liberal and they don't like conservative views. Anything with conservative message, get rid of it. This person's a conservative. They don't like liberal views. Anything with a liberal message, get rid of it, right? Look, this is not how we operate in a free society, right? It's also not how you operate in a capitalistic system. Spotify is a company. Spotify is a private company that can make its own decisions. Like if they wanted to censor the Rogan podcast, sure, they do have the right to. But the thing isn't about what the right is. It's about what they should do. Imagine investing $100 million in something and 2 months later, you've got, I bet you it's like 10 employees or something who are causing all this trouble. It's probably like 3 people who are spearheading it and then a few other people who are pansies, who are kind of going along with it, whatever. It just needs to be nipped in the bud, right? It's, like I said, if people are going to act like children, then treat them like children, right? If you can't handle the fact that there is a podcast that exists on a platform that says stuff that you don't like, and so you need to take full control over it and be able to censor it and be able to edit or something, like you have a psychological problem, my friend. Like you need to go to the gym. You need to do some deadlifts. You need to do some squats. You need to do some bench press and some pull-ups and some overhead press. And once your body is less feeble, then your mind will also probably be less feeble. So that's really what I have to say about the Spotify employees, right? And this goes for any company. You're seeing all these companies trying to kowtow to like 1% of people. Right, 1% of people who get offended by everything. Half the time, they're not even offended. They're just playing this little game to exert their power and their control other people. Because people, as I said before, people like power and people like control. People like power and people like control. If you just understand this, then you can understand a lot of these dynamics, right? Not everybody is obsessed with power and control, but when it comes to a lot of companies, when it comes to a lot of activist type people, when it comes to a lot of politicians, when it comes to a lot of people in the media, journalism, all that kind of stuff, these are things which tend to draw power-hungry people, people who want to instill fear in others, people who want to control others, and people who want to say what you can and can't do, what you can see and what you can't see, what you can listen to and what you are not allowed to listen to. And look, honestly, if people are, firstly, the whole idea of something being offensive is totally subjective. This is the first thing. Like it's a point I make a lot, because you got a lot of people saying things like, oh, well, comedy shouldn't be censored or music shouldn't be censored, but people shouldn't be offensive. And look, for the most part, I somewhat agree with that. Like I'm a very polite person, right? As I've already said, I don't cuss in my music. I don't cuss on these live streams. I don't cuss in my podcast. I don't cuss in the real world. And I'm not a fan of profanity. I'm not a fan of, blaspheming. There's a lot of stuff and a lot of, I don't like every joke. There's a lot of stuff that I don't like. There are things that I personally find offensive, but the things that I find offensive might not be the same things that you find offensive, might not be the same thing the next man finds offensive. So if we're going to just go by no one is allowed to offend anybody, then we can't do anything. We can't do anything. Someone is probably offended by this live stream. Someone might be offended by the fact that my t-shirt is purple. Someone may not like the fact that I have a beard. Someone doesn't like this. Someone doesn't like that. There are always things that people don't like. But man, look, we live in a free world. individuals, private companies, etc. For the most part, look, you can set your own rules, you can set your own boundaries, but it's not always just about, what's legal or what's illegal. It's just about like, how should we generally be acting here? And I think these Spotify employees are acting like babies, like man children or women children, whatever gender they are. Who am I to know? Like, I don't know what these people identify as, but I think they're pansies, and I think they need to yeah, I think Spotify shouldn't. I don't think people like this should be taken all that seriously, man. If you're making some reasonable demand, fair enough. But if you're just throwing a hissy fit because there's something there that you don't like, then they should tell them to kick rocks. There's a lot of other people they could hire instead. And maybe the fact that they haven't done that immediately, maybe there are some people who are more senior or higher up who are kind of going along with this. But I don't know. I'm just projecting here. I'm just guessing. We got another super chat which has come through. This is from Matthew Hammond. He sends $4.99. Thank you very much, Matthew. Appreciate it. He wrote, he should use the strike as a means of firing all the people that walk off the job. Take the Red Bull CEO's lead and remove all. Oh, wow. I don't know what the Red Bull CEO did. Well, tell me a little bit more about that because that's interesting. But yeah, that's right. Like anyone who strikes, get rid of them. because not because they're striking, but because look, these people are like bloodsuckers. These are sharks who you think this is going to be their last demand, right? They'll you'll give them an inch and they'll take a mile. As soon as you give in to these type of people, they don't relent. They don't relent, right? They'll first say, "Oh, we just want this episode, this little bit, we want this edited out. We think that's offensive." And then they're going to be like, "No, we want this whole episode deleted." Oh no, they're going to go back through old episodes. They're saying, "We want this deleted. We want that deleted." They're never going to stop. Joe Rogan is going to want to get a certain guest on in the future. I don't know. Say he actually managed to get, I know he wanted to host the Trump and Biden debate, but imagine he actually got like Trump on and the employees are like, no, we can't give a platform to Donald Trump. We don't like Donald Trump. Or no, he can't give a platform to Alex Jones again. No, he can't give a platform to Zuby. We don't like Zuby. Where does this stuff end, man? It doesn't. It doesn't end. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. So that's my thoughts on the Spotify and Joe Rogan situation. Okay, someone was talking about the Red Bull CEO. He sacked 2 top board members for SJWBS. Wow, good for him. Good for him. Like seriously, someone else wrote, "These people make over $100,000 a year. Fire their." It's true though, right? Like these are not people who are sort of like underprivileged and poor and what. Like these are going to be college educated, woke, liberal types, probably from places like San Francisco and Portland and Seattle and New York City. And, they want to bring all their college safe space nonsense out into the real world. And we should not let that fly. And again, I am someone who does not go out of my way to be offensive at all, right? I generally avoid trying to be offensive, but like I've said, I always defend free speech, man. I defend free speech. Like I control my own channels. Like if someone's following me on social media, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, well, like if I want to block people because they're annoying me, I can block people, but I'm not going to try to get anyone deplatformed. I'm not going to try to get anyone kicked off. I'm absolutely not going to try to get anyone criminally prosecuted or something crazy like that. Like absolutely not. People can say what they want. People can do what they want within reason, as long as it's not hurting other people, etc. Like I'm pretty libertarian, man. Like I don't really care. I don't really care. And like I've said, companies can make those decisions, but if they want to do well in a free market system, then they can't just be kowtowing to these people with these, who are actual radicals, right? It's the people who are trying to censor Joe Rogan. These people are the radicals. These people are the fringe people. Most people, whether they're, liberal, conservative, in the middle, whatever, most people don't care. Most people don't have a problem with Joe Rogan's podcast existing. And yeah, it's just, it's a slippery slope, and slippery slope's not a fallacy. It's a very real thing. I got another super chat here. This one has come through from Ian. He sends £5. Thank you so much. Hi, Zuby. Met you at that event at the Polish Center in London. Talked to you about Joe Rogan at the time, so cool to see you talking on this stuff. Thank you very much, Ian. I greatly appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. Someone here wrote, if you take 100 mil from Silicon Valley, then you're no longer free. See, the thing is, I believe that when he made the announcement, he said that he would have total creative control over it. And as long as he has total creative control, man, I mean, look, guys, first, let's be real, because I remember when that deal was made, and some people are like, "Oh, he's selling out, or he's doing this, he's doing that." Like $100 million. Do you guys know how much money $100 million is? Right now, for $100 million, I don't think that you should, do anything horrible or unethical or immoral or like sell your soul to the devil or anything like that. But $100 million to put your podcast on Spotify. I mean, that's not the biggest ask, is it? That's not the biggest ask, especially if they're giving you full creative control, as long as that's the truth. I've obviously not seen all the terms and conditions and stuff like that. But as far as I can see, all of the old episodes are still there. I know some of them disappeared for the first 2 weeks or something like that, but it looks like they're all there in full, including the Alex Jones episode, including, Milo Yiannopoulos, Gavin McInnes, some of these people who are deemed a little bit controversial. Who aren't even all that controversial to begin with, man. Like, I don't know. The bar for what people consider like extreme or radical, certainly when it comes to like the right or conservative end of the political spectrum, is like that Overton window's kind of like diminishing, whilst you have these sort of like crazies on the left, like Antifa and all these other far left communist Marxist weirdos who are like burning down cities and setting up autonomous zones and stuff, and they're just getting away with it. The game is rigged. the game's been rigged for a while, but if you're hip to it, you already know that that's the truth. Got another super chat here. This one comes from Your Pappy, sends $5. The problem is everyone thinks their opinion should be heard and followed. We're not all leaders, and some people fail to realize this. It's true. It's true. And I'll tell you what, man. I think everybody's opinion, probably should be heard. Do I think everyone's opinion is of equal value? Absolutely not. Is everybody a leader? Absolutely not. Are some people smart and some people stupid? Absolutely true. Are some people more informed than others? Absolutely true. Do some people have more expertise? Then absolutely true. But look, everyone has a right to voice their opinion, but people don't have to listen to it. And if people do choose to listen to it, they absolutely don't have to follow it, right? If I come on this show and I'm saying some nonsense, then you can oh wow, okay, some people are saying that the deal was probably closer to 200 million. That wouldn't surprise me. I believe he was making like 40 to 50 million a year before the deal anyway. So 100 million for him might not be that much. I think Joe Rogan's going to become a billionaire, If you think about it, he's going to become a billionaire. His podcast is making like what, 50 million plus a year? He's going to become a billionaire, man. He's probably going to be the world's first podcast billionaire, which is incredible. That's so inspiring. And if you ever meet Joe, he is, some people like him, some people don't. But look, as someone who's met him, someone who's spoken to him for several hours, he's the same as he is on the show, man. He's a real guy. He's genuine. He's down to earth. He's kind. And look, I owe the man. I owe the guy. Like, he put me out to such a bigger audience. So you get some people like, oh, he's this, he's a shill, he's controlled, he's this. I'm like, look, guys, man. You're not gonna hear me say anything bad about Joe, man. Joe's done. I'm an independent rapper from the south of England, right? There are rappers in the UK who are much bigger than me, who are better known, etc. I'm the one who he wanted to have on his podcast. So, and look, there's a lot of people who, like, there's people with way smaller platforms who don't give me that opportunity. Like, Joe did not have to go out there and give me that opportunity. He did not have to share my stuff and retweet my stuff and talk to me about me. Look, man, God bless that, man. That's all I can say. But even before, I knew him on any personal level at all, the guy's been putting in work. He's been putting in work. He's been putting out free podcasts for 11 years, man. 11 years. This is the thing. A lot of people have this entitlement mentality. You get any creative podcasters, musicians, artists, etc., putting out YouTubers, putting out all of this content, putting out content. And then when someone finally reaches a stage where they're able to seriously monetize it, then people get angry. And it's like, what's with that, man? That's not cool. That's not cool. Look, I put out so much content. You can listen to my music for free. You can listen to my podcast for free. You can listen to my live streams for free. You can read my tweets. You can read my posts. I put out so much content into the world, thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of content. And yeah, sure, I get paid directly for some of it, But for most of it, I don't. I just put it out there for the people. I put it out there because I enjoy it and I want to build my brand and I want to help other people and help other people rise up and everything. But then as soon as you want to like promote something, as soon as you, oh geez, sorry, there's this guy in the chat's just being annoying, so I'm gonna have to block him. Sorry, I don't like blocking people. I really don't like blocking people, but when they're disruptive, you got to. But this is not violating his freedom of speech, so you know he can still speak. I just don't need to hear it. Yeah, so there's always that weird thing, man, where people don't want the people who make content they like to make money somehow. And it's a really messed up viewpoint. It's something that I've seen a lot as an artist, and it's just weird. I don't know where it comes from. Making money doesn't mean that you're selling out. It's like selling out means totally compromising your own values or your own morals or your own principles or ethics, etc., to make money. That's what selling out actually means, right? So if someone was like, you know what, Zuby, we're going to give you this money and we want you to talk about all of this stuff, which is totally antithetical to your own beliefs, to your own morals. We want you to do this, we want you to do that, like all that kind of stuff. Then, yeah, then that's, then, and if I were to take that and to do that and sort of do a 180 and totally change my tune, then yeah, that would be me selling out. Right? But not just someone's like, hey, Zuby, we love what you're doing. We want to support you. We want to amplify you. We want to partner with you. And look, here, we're going to give you like $10 million. And we just want you to keep doing what we're doing, but what you're doing, but we want to get it out to more people. That's not selling out. That's just doing business, and that's doing smart business. You think someone offering me a $10 million check for me to keep being me, I'm not going to take it? I'll tell you right now, I'm taking that money. I'm telling you guys right now. If anyone wants to call me a sellout, I will take it. I'll make a t-shirt saying sellout on it, and I will sell that t-shirt, and the t-shirts will sell out. Speaking of t-shirts, this is a very sneak preview of a collaboration that's going to be coming out later this year. I'm doing a collaboration. I guess I can talk about it on the live stream. You guys can catch it live. BTC movement, Bitcoin movement. This is a collaboration t-shirt. I'm doing t-shirts, hoodies, and caps. Check out the back. Let's see. Can you guys see that? Team Zuby, 21. Yeah, it's my first clothing collaboration with a clothing brand. So you can expect that to be coming out in hopefully November. I'm going to have a limited edition of t-shirts, caps, and hoodies as well. And it's a collaboration with Bitcoin movement. If you don't know how much you guys know about Bitcoin, but it's 21 because Bitcoin is limited to 21 million of them. And every limited edition tee, it's going to have, you can see this tag here. The tags are going to be scannable on a special app, and it's going to show you which edition number you've got on each one. It's going to be the first clothing that's actually going to have this technology in it. So I'm going to have more info on that later, but I figured some of you might be wondering what the t-shirt I'm wearing is. So that's a little bit of a preview. But I did a big photo shoot with them over the weekend. We're sort of keeping it under wraps for the most part, but I can talk about it on the live stream. That's all good. I'm with my people right here. Oh, it's nice. We got another super chat. This one's from Rebecca. Thank you very much for the super chat, Rebecca. She sends $5. She wrote, "It feels like they're not just trying to censor speech they do not like, but also take away our right to think for ourselves." Yeah, it's true. it's true. Like the thing with human life and humanity and society and culture is you actually have to constantly fight for your freedoms. I think this is something that's really interesting in America, and something that's interesting in the West in general, because a great sign of a society that is somewhat decadent is that people sort of fight for their rights to be taken away, right? People fight to lose their liberty. People fight to lose their freedom. If you go to a country where people are genuinely suffering or are genuinely oppressed or are really going through hard times just in terms of being able to survive, then you will find that those people there, or at least some section of the community, is fighting for liberty, and they're fighting for freedom, right? Whereas when you come to certain countries in the West, Western Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America, people are fighting to lose freedom. It's a very bizarre thing. It's like there's this desire for, we always think that people like to think that humans really desire freedom and liberty, and we do to some degree, but people also like control. People like being told what to do. People like people like the rules and the regulations and the things you can do and the things you can't. And look, within reason, of course you want that, right? You want laws. I'm not advocating for some lawless anarchist society. Absolutely not. I don't want the whole country to turn into Chaz or Chop or something. But I'm talking about basic things like freedom of speech. In the USA, First Amendment, Second Amendment, these, rights that are granted by God for Americans to have. And you have people actively fighting to remove rights, which is something that's quite fascinating to me. Or if you're looking at this whole lockdown situation and the whole response to the pandemic, you are seeing that people are fighting for more lockdowns. People are literally voting. No, we want more lockdowns. We want restrict our freedoms more. Make me wear a mask, daddy government. Make me stand away from my friends. Don't allow me to see my family. How dare you? How dare you? There's a 0.0001% chance I could die of this thing. So how dare you let me see my family? How dare you let me go to a restaurant? How dare you let me dance on a dance floor? It's interesting. It's really, really, really fascinating stuff in terms of psychology. Got another couple super chats here. Jim sends $10. He wrote, "The JRE is a good podcast and all, but it's no real talk with Zuby. Thanks for quality content I can listen to with my 3-year-old." Thank you so much. That's such a nice comment. Yeah, I'm glad you can listen to it with your 3-year-old as well. Some episodes are certainly a little bit edgy, but I'm glad that you can listen to that with a child. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. Man, thank you. Thank you very much. I plan to keep improving the podcast. I'm still new to the game. I'm just a year and a half into it. Well, more than a year and a half now, a year and 10 months. So it's continuing to grow. Oh, by the way, guys, I don't think I let you know. Last week, I think this happened after the last live stream, but the Real Talk with Zuby podcast has now hit over 1 million total downloads and streams. So massive thank you to everybody who's been tuning into it. Like 1 million is a big landmark. I think it's already past the 1.1 million mark. It's gained another 100,000 just in the past 10 days or so. So thank you. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. If you're not already subscribed, you can watch it right here on my YouTube channel. You can also subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever else you listen. So massive thank you for 1 million downloads and streams on the Real Talk with Zuby podcast. Got some real big guests coming up. The Douglas Murray episode is flying. It's got over 80,000 people have listened to that now. I've got an upcoming episode with Brett Weinstein. I've got Mac Lethal coming on. I've got who else? Leonidas Johnson, Afyong Williams, Andrew Doyle, William Clouston. I've got a whole bunch of great guests coming on. So stay tuned. New episodes are going to be going out even as I'm working on my album. I'm going to be spending a little less time on social media as usual. I'm still undecided as to whether or not I'll be keeping these live streams going, but I think I will. I can probably spare like an hour. Can probably still spare an hour on a Monday, but I will let you guys know. If I'm not able to do it, I will announce it on social media and right here on YouTube. And let me get to this next super chat. This has come through from Alexander. Sends $5 Canadian. Thank you very much, Alexander. Appreciate it. He just wrote, "Hey Zuby, looking forward to your next album release. Keep up the positive vibes. Much love, Alex the Chemist." Thank you very much, Alex, man. I massively appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, and you know what, guys? Firstly, thanks so much for people tuning in, man. There's a lot of people tuned into this one. Got like well over 250 people tuned in live right now. I am going to be going for about another 15 to 20 minutes or so. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in now. I'm going to go through the chat and I'm going to try to answer a few of them. Another super chat has just come through here from Your Pappy, sends another $2. Writes, "Fear is the best way to make weak minds submit." It absolutely is. And the crazy thing about fear, I talked about this on the last episode, but fear works on everybody, man. Fear is the most powerful human emotion. Fear is the most powerful human emotion. If you can instill fear in people, then you can get them to do virtually anything, depending on how much fear you instill in them, right? And that's quite scary. It's a very scary realization. And people in the media are very aware of this. Politicians are very aware of this. Why do you think that every single election is made to seem and feel and people talk like this is the most important election ever? Have you noticed that every single election, every election is the most important election ever? 2016 was the most important, most crucial election ever in American history. 2020, next month, most crucial, most important election in American history. It's been like this every year, every 4 years. People forget that they said it the last time, and it happens again, and it happens again, and it happens again, and people always get suckered into it. Look at what's going on with the Rona. People are scared, so people are behaving in bizarre ways, irrational ways. People are doing things that don't make sense. You go to a restaurant, you can sit down, and you don't have to wear a mask when you're sitting down, but you stand up and you have to put a mask on. Makes no sense. You can have 6 people for a social gathering, only about 30 people for a work gathering. Makes no sense. Can't stay out after 10 p.m. All restaurants and bars need to shut after 10 p.m. This is the UK I'm talking about. It doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense, but people will just abide by it. You can tell people, like, you must wear a mask here, stand in this circle, walk one way down this system, whatever. And because people are scared, and also people want to just comply socially, people just do it. People just do it. You can look into experiments that have been done which show like the crazy things people will do when either under fear or just when they're told to do something from some sort of authority figure. It's scary stuff, man. It's scary stuff. Got another super chat here. This has come from Matthew Hammond, sends $4.99. Thank you. He wrote, Zuby has created a book about the physical body. Will he create a book about the spiritual body, a devotional book? Wow. Firstly, thanks for the super chat, Matthew. I think maybe down the line in the future. I'll be honest, right now, I don't feel like I am yet qualified to do that. I think I'm qualified to write a book on physical health. I think I'm also qualified to write a book on mindset and mentality. I think that's going to be a big feature in whatever next book I choose to write. About the spiritual body, something devotional, I think that'll come when I'm older. I think that'll come when I'm older and I've got more experience and I've had more time to think about some of these things, because that's a heavy topic and I want to make sure that I would handle this thing properly. So yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to have a look at the questions, and I'm going to get back to some of your, I'm going to respond to some of your questions right here and just see what we got here. Some funny comments here. Someone wrote, you should do a podcast with Chris Ryan, the author of Sex at Dawn and also Civilized to Death. He's been on Rogan a bunch as well. Okay, Chris Ryan, I will keep in mind for future podcasts. Martin wrote, notice the subtle way the media in general are trying to portray that Donald Trump is faking COVID to gain votes. Look, I gave up on the media a long time ago. Mainstream media, they always have an agenda. They have their biases. They have their nonsense. And look, it's weird because they love Trump because he makes so much money for them, but they also hate him because he offends their sensibilities. But look, whether you like the man or not, they're just so biased against him that it's ridiculous. And if anything, I think it sort of builds more sympathy for him because people who are reasonable can just see how unfairly he gets treated. But yeah, Eleanor says, looking forward to the Andrew Doyle podcast. Josh asks, are you planning on going back on Louder with Crowder? I think it'll certainly happen. I'd also like to get Stephen on my podcast at some point in the future. So yeah, we'll see. Someone wrote, a wise man I admire once said, when you choose a side, you lose. I live by that now. Yeah. I think, I think in a political sense, I think that's fairly true. I also think, look, like sometimes people just are on a side. People have values, people have their principles, people have their beliefs, etc. For some people, most people, it's a combination of things. Most people aren't sort of dead down the line on everything, but some people are very liberal, some people are very conservative, and so they're always going to feel it as a side. But ultimately, I think we all want to see ourselves as the human race. I think that's really the most important thing. It sounds sounds like a little bit of a cliche, but if you just recognize that you have a lot more in common with people than you have different with them, then that's a great way to navigate the world. Because even when you have those differences, if you assume that most people are coming from a good place rather than a point of malice or a point of hostility or anything like that, then it's just a lot easier to get on with people. Because look, there's billions of us out there, man. There's billions of us, and we all need to. We're all gonna have our differences. We're not just clones of each other, and we need to be able to get on with each other like that. Someone asked, what vocal mic do I record with? If you're talking about this one, this is a Blue Yeti. Um, Someone's asking, can I get Tim Pool on my podcast? Yeah, I would love to. I've actually asked him a couple of times, and he does do so much recording that I think he's just someone who's quite hard to pin down. I'd love to get him on in the future, but yeah, we will see. Rebecca wrote, Brett Weinstein is almost so smart I can't follow him. Have to listen very well. Yeah, well, we've got a great podcast coming out soon, so make sure you check that out. Let's see what else we got in terms of the questions right here. Um, let's see. Richard writes, Sainsbury's also supports BLM and Black History Month. Statues already disappeared in London and were being attacked. The UK government has no idea how serious this is, that what's happening. Sainsbury's. Is Sainsbury's specifically supporting BLM? I don't know about that. I saw they put out some sort of generic statement about diversity, which these companies just do. I don't know. I kind of feel people are reading into it too much. Like, look, I think these companies should just get on with business. Like, I'm speaking as an actual black person. Like, I don't need. I've been going to Sainsbury's my whole life, and I've never assumed that they have any problem with black people or Asian people or anybody. Right? Like, Sainsbury's is just Sainsbury's. It's a supermarket. It's a grocery store. They serve everybody. They employ all kinds of people. Whatever. Like, I just think you don't need to put out these statements, and you don't need to do these theatrics, right? You don't need to do this political virtue signaling all the time, right? I don't need to put out a statement saying that, oh, my music, it's okay to listen to my music in my podcast, even if whether you're black, white, Asian, Latino, male, female, gay, straight, bi, like trans, like it's a given. It's a given. I don't need to virtue signal about it, right? If you enjoy my music, then God bless you, right? You're part of Team Zuby. It's as simple as that. So when these companies put out these statements, sort of saying like, "Oh, by the way, we oppose racism and we like black people," or "Oh, by the way, we like gay people," or whatever, to me, to someone with my own sensibilities, I'm just kind of like, it doesn't offend me, but I'm just like, yeah, well, duh. We'd kind of hope so. We'd kind of hope so. I've never been called a racial slur or chased out of Sainsbury's for being black or something, and I see black people working in there, so I just kind of assumed that you guys were opposed to racism, and that's cool. In terms of Black History Month, again, like, look, I think Black History Month is a funny one. I don't have super strong feelings of it. I think that what people call Black history should just be integrated into all history. I don't think it should be like relegated to a specific month. I just think if people are learning about history of, I don't know, whatever country, the UK, the US, etc., there are black people involved in that, and that should just be taught as part of the wider curriculum. I think it should just be integrated into history. Like, to me, there isn't sort of, black history and white history and brown history or whatever, right? There's just history. You've got people of different groups, different ethnicities, different races, different colors, different creeds, whatever. Like, it's just history. So I think this obsession over the Sainsbury's thing is a little bit overblown, but that's just kind of my general thoughts on these sort of corporate diversity statements and something like Black History Month. Like I said, I think it should be self-evident that companies and individuals, etc., do not stand for bigotry and racial hatred and discrimination and anything else like that. Like, that should just be, in 2020, I think most people just think it's a given, unless they have reason to think otherwise. It's just a given. I don't think anyone was suspicious of Sainsbury's before, so I don't really see how it benefits them to do that. I don't think people are going to sort of start shopping there because of it, or people were not shopping there before. I just think it's kind of silly. Like, to be honest, I think it's a little bit silly. Oh wow, we've got okay, I see wow. Okay. Wow. Thank you very much, Sean. Sean sends a big super chat. $50 super chat. Thank you very much, Sean, man. God bless you. Really appreciate that. He hasn't even said anything. He's just dropped in the 50 like that, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's really, really kind of you. I'm quite very pleasantly surprised by that. Going up, a lot of people are saying I should do the sellouts, are saying I should do the sellout T-shirts. Someone saying Zuby sold out his album. Yeah. Yo, there's a message from Jack. He wrote, "Yo, Zuby, I bought a CD off you when I went to the SBTV Xmas party 2012 in Camden. Amazing to see where you've become since then." Thank you so much, Jack. You are part of the story. That's appreciated, man. Very, very grateful for everyone who's supported me in this journey, whether you've just discovered me yesterday or you've been riding along for the past 10 years. It is all massively, massively appreciated. Massively appreciated. Yeah, someone wrote, "I just want supermarkets to have decent food at decent prices, to be honest." Yeah, it's true. That's all we need. That's all we need. Sainsbury's is offering safe spaces for black employees. Okay, if they're doing that, then that's stupid. I wasn't. Oh, okay. Okay. I missed this part. Sainsbury's have said they're having black employees safe spaces. Okay, this is dumb. Okay, this is stupid. All right, I wasn't aware of this part. I was not aware of this part, but this is dumb. This is dumb. And it's also quite offensive. I don't like this whole idea of like infantilizing black people or infantilizing any demographic. They do it to black people. They do it to women. They do it to minorities in general. They do it with like, the LGBT people, acting like, black people we're these sort of like sad, oppressed, weak people who have like the mindset of toddlers, like those people at Spotify, and that we need these safe spaces so that we can hide away from white people, or it's just nonsense. It's nonsense, and people didn't need this before. So why suddenly in 2020 would we need this? Right? I think that's a step backwards. I don't think that's a step forward. I think something that's really important here, just in general, is we as a society, as people, we've become too comfortable. And the problem with people being comfortable, being comfortable is generally a good thing. But the problem with people being too comfortable is it just makes weak individuals. There's so many weak individuals in society, just people who are fragile, emotionally incontinent, people who can't handle anything that is remotely offensive or remotely, not aligned with them, or whatever, right? Some universities are banning clapping, and, you have to do jazz hands because clapping could offend people, or clapping could trigger people. People are talking about microaggressions. People are talking about all this nonsense, safe spaces for black employees. Like, come on, man. How demeaning is that? That's very demeaning. Are there safe spaces for white employees? Are there safe spaces for Asian employees? Why do we need safe spaces, period, let alone racially segregated ones? Like, this is utter nonsense. And stuff like that is what's offensive to me, right? That to me is what's offensive, right? The idea that, I don't know, black people or any other demographic sort of just can't handle reality. And so we need to retreat with our coloring books and listening to like petting puppies or something. It's nonsense. We're talking about adults here. We're not even talking about children. And I think if you want to have a healthy, stable society, you can't just nerf the entire world, right? You can't just wrap everything in cotton, protect everybody in a bubble, douse everybody in like hand sanitizer, and just protect everybody from the elements forever. Protect everybody from pathogens, protect everybody from ideas, protect people from people who look like them, different from them, or who think differently from them, or who have different genitalia to them. And everyone just needs to be kept apart and wrapped in these little bubbles. It's just nonsense. This is just how you make people weak and pathetic. And once people are weak and pathetic, then yeah, sure, it's easier to control them. But also, it creates resentment, right? It creates more division, more hostility, because people always feel like they're being oppressed, or people feel like, oh, that group is the source of my problems. That group is the source of my problems. Oh, it's the patriarchy. No, it's white supremacy. No, it's heteronormativity. It's all this garbage, all this garbage, right, that people are going on about. It's like, just man up. Simple. Like, just man up. Man up, woman up, just be an adult, just be an adult. Like, human beings are not so fragile. Think of like our ancestors, our grandparents' generation, man. Look at some of the hardships they went through. Grandfathers, great grandparents, great grandparents, man. Like, they went through some stuff. They went through 2 world wars. They went through all kinds of like plague and violence and disease and pestilence and hardship and poverty. Hey, can you imagine them just like seeing seeing the way we're behaving, even seeing the way we're behaving about a virus with a 99.99% survival rate for most demographics and how much hysteria it's causing and for how long, they'd be laughing at us, right? People freaking out because the price of avocados goes up or they run out of avocados, or they charge an extra dollar for guacamole and people are freaking out. Your Wi-Fi goes out for 2 minutes and people are freaking out. Phone battery dies and people are freaking out. Imagine how your ancestors would look at you, man. They would be so ashamed. They'd be like, is this what we fought the war for? So don't disappoint your ancestors. Before you start complaining about some nonsense, think about whether or not your ancestors would be proud of you. Okay, guys. Someone wrote, yeah, this is what I said there. The world is not a safe place, period. Best prepare people for the world instead of wrapping them in bubble wrap. True, right? We want the world to be healthy and safe and, good. But look, we do exist in reality too. Someone wrote, Zuby, do you feel that globally the progressive treat black people like little pets? Yes, I do. And I hate it. I can't stand it. There's a reason. There's lots of reasons, but it's a big reason I can't align myself with these people. And I never have, because I don't like the way I think it's its own type of racism, right? I like to just be treated as an equal, right? I don't want to be treated worse than anybody else because of my skin color, but I don't want to be treated better or treated differently or be given a safe space or be like afforded opportunities that I wouldn't be if I had a different, just treat people fairly. That's all I ask for. That's all I ask for. I'm not asking for any handouts. I'm not asking for like some huge special treatment. I'm not asking for, absolutely not asking for safe spaces. I'm not asking for trigger warnings. I'm not asking for any of this. And most people are not, right? Most people are not, which is why I and lots of other people find it very demeaning when they think they can kind of just speak on behalf of all the billion black people in the world and just act like we're these sort of oppressed victims and political footballs that they can just kind of kick around for their own whim. I don't like that, and I don't stand for that. So that's where some of my attitude and disdain for some of these ideas comes from. Yeah. Okay, guys. We're coming up to an hour right now. So if there is I love oh gosh, some of these comments are funny, man. Some of these comments are funny. Awesome, guys. Thank you very much for tuning into the podcast. I don't think there's any more major questions that I need to get to, but massive thanks for tuning in. Huge thank you for the super chats, like some really generous super chats there. Massively, massively appreciated. Thank you. Big shout out to Sean for that $50 super chat, man. That is legendary. I am going to be traveling at the end of this week, so I will let you guys know about the live stream. I'm going to try to keep live streaming. But I will absolutely let you know. Should be Monday, usual time, 8 p.m. BST. But if I need to move it to a different time or I need to delay it to a different day or something, I will put that out on the YouTube as well as my other social media channels. So I hope you all have a fantastic rest of the day. I hope you have a brilliant week. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you all. And it is Team Zuby out. Make sure you go to teamzuby.com if you want to check out any of my music or my merchandise, or you want to get a copy of my book. That is teamzuby.com. I'm dropping that in the chat right now. I'm going to be getting some new merchandise soon as well over the next couple months. So go check that out. It's all appreciated. All helps to support everything I do. Take care. Peace.